Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee and happy another week. That's right. We're starting another week to get a paycheck, I guess, or whatever you're doing out there in the world. It's Mucking Fonday. What do we have to say? You know, we're woken up begrudgingly, and we have some stories here for you about everything that's been happening. So you don't have to worry about it. You can just go on your meetings that you're going to be stuck in for 50 minutes every day. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look at our stories 40 minutes before we start it. We just got some caffeine. We're learning to read live on stream. Let's get into today's headlines. Today on Mucking Fonday. No future in oil. Greta Thunberg and 200 activists block Norway oil refinery. And Viktor Orban's opponent, Hungarian opposition leader Peter Magyar, wants guarantees that Russia is not interfering in the Hungarian elections.
Happy Mucking Fonday. We're going to talk about the Bolivian elections and also all eyes on Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Jerome Powell is going to set a new rate.
In a longer segment, the first group of Gaza children are to be evacuated to the UK for treatment in the coming weeks.
2 American Carnival cruise passengers drowned on the same day. What the heck's going on? Plus, man calls United Airlines gets scammed for $17,000. Huh? What?
What the skibbity is the trad wife doing? 5 key new words added to the Cambridge Dictionary. In my culture news.
It's National Fajita Day. It's National Ice Cream Pie Day. The best combination in the history of the world is August 18th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
I love grilling my onions and peppers on the grill until they're just so hot.
Yeah.
So did you know the secret behind that stuff is actually that it's right before they bring it out, they just put steam. They just put a bunch of water on it, so it's steam.
Yeah.
I don't. If anyone's ever gone to like a Mexican restaurant where they bring you fresh fajitas, they sizzle it to make it think like, oh look, it's fresh and really hot, but it's actually just they just put some water on it before they came out. It
actually is really hot. It just
the cast iron pan that it's on is really hot. But I just mean
yourself. It's very hot.
They do it for artistic effect, right? They do it for artistic effect on purpose. That's all I mean. So
I would say they put lime juice on there instead of water. It would be more aromatic.
I don't know. I only saw a video. I saw a video on like my YouTube shorts where it was just showing like this is what we do. To present our fajitas in the most I mean, let's be honest. When you get the fajitas and they don't come out like that, it feels like you got cheated. I don't know.
What I do, and this is my little cooking secret. I'm a secret cooking addict sometimes. When I'm making my chips, like I'm frying them in deep fried grease, right? I lower the temperature a little bit and drop a tiny little splash of vinegar in there. Not enough to make it splatter or anything, just enough to make it gurgle. Like it gurgles enough, and that adds that vinegar and it separates the chips from the oil and it makes them taste better, in my opinion.
I agree with you. This is why Mexicans love lime with everything, because it just makes everything better. The little acid.
That wasn't lime. I'm talking about vinegar. No, I'm talking about vinegar.
Vinegar is an acid, though.
Yeah, I'm just trying to separate the grease from the chip as much as possible.
Yeah,
I don't know if it
and that's what the acid does. Yeah.
Yeah, it works. But hey, if you add too much, it's going to splatter and you're going to get grease burns. So
be careful.
Don't take my advice and blame me.
There's your fatherly advice from Roger. Also, hello Yin. Good morning. And Yin says, hi Allie, and hi Allie's dad.
Allie's dad. That's
for a minute there I thought I said daddy, and I was like, whoa. You can't speak to my dad like that.
Oh boy.
All right, let's get into our first. Let's roll our segue wheel first, and then we can get into our story.
Let's try to do the show today with my utter incompetence.
Of course, the segue wheel is not working, so I'm going to have to open it up. It didn't work Friday either. I don't know what happened there.
Let's get the repairman on the phone.
Didn't turn it off.
Bolivia elections. I always got to cover other countries, I feel. Because American politics to me is just dyed in the wool bullshit until Trump goes away.
The revolution is televised. Who says that?
Gil Scott-Heron. Gil Scott-Heron. That's a song. It's an actual top 40 hit from the 60s.
Yes, we're talking about a lot of
I
Europe.
should play it, right? I'm going to go play that for you, just so you know.
Let me load this. I can at least see the wheel roll, even if I can't see the screen. Should have checked this, but I thought if just resetting my computer would have fixed it. I won't have to worry about it. Okay, segue wheel.
He also has a song. Gil Scott-Heron also has a song called "Whitey on the Moon," which I really appreciate that title.
Whitey on the moon. Only you can say something like that.
Why not? Let me see if I can find the video of it. It shouldn't be that hard.
I'm just going to keep rolling this in a vain hope that I will play the segue wheel. That is not working right.
Not working. See, I remember this song, like when it was being played. Of course, it was banned by a white radio. Oh my God, he's talking about revolution.
It's not doing nothing. It's not doing nothing.
What, the wheel? You want me to spin it?
Yeah, I don't know why it's not doing anything, but it isn't.
Can't you just spin it and tell me what it did?
That's what I'm trying to tell. Well, I can't explain. Oh, you know what? It's fucking disabled. Oh? Mix it up. Why did you disable it? I didn't do that. I didn't freaking do that. Okay, wheels rolling. It was disabled this whole time. Idiot. I'm the idiot. Also, let me put you.
Oh, since you brought it up, that's our mic drop today.
Down here where you belong. Down here.
It's in my YouTube history, so
there we go. Okay, our segue is.
Whee!
Did it send it? Did it send it in chat?
Technical glitches.
I'll roll it again. God, I wasn't paying attention. Okay. Segue wheel.
One more time.
It's Monday, guys. Reminds me of a song. So I have two stories here, and hopefully they both remind you of a song.
I can close my eyes now for the whole segment.
Yes, you can just think deeply about your song that you're reminded of.
Hopefully, you might not. Yeah, I'll be listening. My eyes are closed for therapeutic reasons.
Yes, for anybody who doesn't know, like 3 weeks ago, I guess at this point, your retina decided to leave the building, and you actually wanted to keep being in your eyes. Got a bunch of lasers in the eye, and he just
had
sees
like a
bubbles.
10% detachment. Had about like a 10% detachment.
It wasn't that bad.
So
but it was bad enough that it was not fun to feel.
I had an outpatient thing where the doctor stuck his finger inside back of my eye and put a bubble there. So I got a bubble that's blocking my vision about right here.
Yeah.
And the lower I look, the more it blocks. So if I look like this, I can actually read stuff. So that's kind of why I look like a freak. Anyway, go ahead.
Our first story is coming out of Norway, famous for its gas fields in the North Sea. Greta Thunberg and 200 activists are blocking the oil refinery and saying there is no future in oil. This is by Victoria Becker on Eurocitiv. Some 200 climate activists, including Greta Thunberg of Sweden, blocked Norway's largest oil refinery today in a protest demanding an end to the country's oil industry, organizers and police said. Activists from Extinction Rebellion sound the road, blocking the entrance to the Mongstad refinery in Bergen on Norway's southwestern coast, while kayaks and sailboats obstructed the port's entrance. We are here because it's crystal clear that there is no future in oil. Fossil fuels lead to death and destruction, Thunberg said in a statement, adding that oil producers like Norway have blood on their hands. Reminder, this is just after on Friday, where they failed to pass any kind of UN plastic treaty where a lot of those people were saying, I'm not going to stop making plastic. Look at all this oil I have. I need to make money off this oil, so I need to make plastic. You can't tell me I can't make this certain amount of plastic. So, this might be a reaction to that as well. The burning of fossil fuels releases planet-heating carbon emissions. Police said they were at the scene monitoring the situation from around 9 a.m. They were out there early. The activists said they plan to continue with a string of protests in Norway throughout the week. The Mongstad refinery is owned by Norwegian oil giant Equinor, which is a majority owned by the Norwegian state. So that's also why the country isn't really interested in stopping, because they make a lot of free money.
Yep.
The activists demanded that Norwegian politicians present a plan to phase out oil and gas. Norway, Western Europe's biggest oil and gas producer, is regularly criticized for its oil and gas production, and also the reason it didn't join the EU, because it didn't want to get regulated by the EU. Oslo insists its industry provides jobs. Wow! You're allowed to exist because you provide jobs. I wish that's how it would be, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I provide jobs by asking people to clean my garden, you know? Does that make me better than you, or just as good as you?
I hire a guy to clean my gutters. I provide jobs.
Yeah. It stresses the importance of guaranteeing stable energy deliveries to Europe. Equinor has said it intends to keep its oil production in the country stable at 1.2 million barrels per day. That's a lot of oil. Until 2035, and expects to produce 40 billion cubic meters of gas a year by 2025. And then what are they going to do? Is that just their predictions for how much money they're going to make? We predict we'll be billionaires and you guys will all be dead. Because the planet will be on fire. But hey, at least we have billions for the Norwegian tax bracket of oil. Well, they probably don't even tax these guys, right? Because they're partially owned by Norway's state.
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't even get taxes. It's just free money for us, and we can increase our politicians' money that they make. Because look at all this free money.
Because all the laws are designed for businesses to hide their profits.
Yeah. They remind you of a song?
Oh, I guess at the beginning it reminded me of a song. Because you mentioned Norway. The Immigrant Song. The Immigrant Song. That's from Norway to basically northern Scotland, but you know, it's The Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. All right.
Sounds good.
Next, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know why I put the laugh track there, but there's a laugh track for it. My next story.
Because of my parrot shirt, I know. You're making fun of my parrot.
Yeah, the parrot shirt is just... It's a look.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to talk about Hungary. My least favorite country in the EU. Mostly for the politicians, not for any Hungarians. I don't have anything against the people of Hungary. Only Viktor Orban. The Hungarian opposition leader Peter Magyar has urged Russia to guarantee it will not interfere with Hungarian politics, following Moscow's claims that the EU is trying to oust Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Yeah, they are. He literally doesn't follow any of the EU's anything. It's let's all make a club of people who want and love chocolate. And then there's a guy in the club who's constantly been like, chocolate is gross. We should actually make chocolate illegal. We should stop making chocolate. And it's like, why are you here in the chocolate club if you don't want to eat chocolate? Just leave. But it's not fair to Hungary, the country, the people of Hungary, for Viktor Orban to just take everyone out of Hungary, of the EU. So he's not going to do that because he actually needs the EU, but he doesn't want to agree with anything the EU stands for. I demand a clear assurance that Russia will refrain from any action that could be classified as interference in its internal political process, including disinformation campaigns, cyber operations, or intimidation of political citizens, Magyar wrote on Facebook. That's right, they're still using Facebook over there in Hungary. This statement comes after Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, claimed on August 15th that the European Commission intends to change the regime in Budapest. Supports Orban's main rival, Magyar. I would too. Not even, this is bad. Bad for Russia, I guess. European are trying to manipulate the election. Both of them are trying. Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, has accused the European Commission of wanting to replace Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban with the main opposition leader. You know who else wants to replace them? Everyone in Hungary. So I hear. Peter Magyar, whom is described as loyal to the globalist elites. Shut the fuck up, Russia. You're part of the globalist elites. Making deals with Trump on who's going to save Ukraine without asking Ukraine if they are interested at all in their own deal. Yeah, global elites. The SVR claims that European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is actively looking for ways to change the regime in Hungary without providing any evidence to that effect. Very, very familiar. Hey, this is happening, but we're not going to prove why we know. Brussels is furious with Budapest's attempts to pursue an independent policy and influence collective decision-making, primarily regarding Russia and Ukraine. The last straw that filled the glass for the European bureaucracy was the recent decision of the Hungarians to block the draft of the new 7-year UE budget, which, according to their assessment, was designed to militarize Europe and prepare it for war with Moscow, according to SVR. I'm sorry, but this is bad because against you, Russia, the people who are invading countries without warning and trying to ascertain their land? Yeah, it does sound like it's bad for you, Russia. Also, this whole idea that Budapest is not collectively agreeing with EU policy is, yeah, that's a problem. When you make for a looser term, a federation of states, right? That's what the EU is. And then there's one guy who's constantly saying, I don't agree with any of this stuff. It's like, why are you here, dude? The statement which mentions me and the party I lead represents an unacceptable interference in Hungary's internal political processes. The claim that the European Union and its leaders would like me to become the next Prime Minister of Hungary, and that, to this end, they would mobilize financial, media, and lobbying resources, is completely unfounded. This is what Magyar says in reply to Russia's claims. Such statements by an official intelligence service report they can only have one purpose: to influence Hungarian voters. Wow, the pot calling the kettle black, and distort the public debates and undermine trust in our democracy. Let's not talk about what Magyar stands for the Hungarian people. Let's just ask him, does he think people are interfering with the election for the next 6 months? And then we'll know nothing about the guy and what he stands for. And this is the same thing that happens in a lot of other politics everywhere else, right? Give them something to hyper-focus on that has nothing to do with the future of the country and their policy and what they stand for. And then we're just going to talk about that before the election. Nobody will know who to vote for. Because all we talked about is...
Did you know Joe Biden is old?
Yeah, exactly. And all we talked about is Russia interfering with the Hungarian election for the whole time? And we don't even know what anyone stands for anymore. On behalf of my party and all Hungarian citizens, I declare clearly that the sovereignty in Hungary belongs exclusively to the Hungarian people. No foreign power, be it an ally, an adversary, or anything else, has the right to try to shape our political future or determine the outcome of our elections, Magyar wrote in an open letter to Russian embassy in Budapest, which he posted on a Facebook page. Okay, so he wrote a letter, took a picture of the letter, and then posted on Facebook. How old can you get? Sorry, I'm just flaming Magyar here real quick. Magyar has emerged as Orban's main opponent, promising to redefine Hungary's foreign policy and end the country's isolation from Western partners. Orban, whose government is widely seen as undermining democratic norms, has blocked or delayed military aid to Ukraine, maintained ties with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and opposed Kyiv's EU membership, warning that it would destroy Hungary. Wow, that guy sure sounds like he's not pro-Russian whatsoever. Budapest has a veto over EU decisions, including on the bloc's expansion. Ukraine began accession negotiations in June of 24, so it's been only a year, with leaders setting 2030 as their provisional target for membership. Magyar visited Ukraine in 24 of July, offering humanitarian aid and promised pragmatic relationships with Moscow, which supplies Hungary with energy, while rejecting Kremlin interference. Hungary is scheduled to hold national elections in 2026. So already, they're starting a year early, I guess, to just completely what do I want to say? Like displane the conversation from things that actually matter. You know, Ukraine, EU ascension, the EU, maybe Hungary trying to get a different energy deal with a different country so they don't have to rely on Russian energy. That's an idea. And then they have no excuses. Oh, here we go. We're getting rated. Give me a sec here. Thank you, Ifnis, for rating. How are you doing? I hope you're having a good Monday. Well, it's a Monday, so as good as a Monday can get.
Subscribe.
Some. What were you playing? You were playing some. You're playing Marvel Rivals, some PvP. I hope you got some good games in. But anyways, that's my story on Hungary and their elections are coming up next year, in which Russia's already trying to distract everyone from things that matter and saying, oh, there's interference. Of course, Russia would say that because they've been doing it the whole time to other areas in the Eastern Europe. Does that remind you of a song?
Yeah, Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac. Gypsy.
That's a slur.
No, it isn't. Gypsy is an
Yes,
actual person.
The people who the people who get called that have said it's a slur.
Gyp is a slur. GYP is a slur.
Okay,
Gypsy
you say so.
Fine. Okay, we'll look it up on the internet. Is Gypsy
I don't have to look it
slur?
up. I know Roma people who say do not use that word. Anyways, it's a song title, and it's about what?
It's about, well, gypsies and people that don't have no fixed country. Right? Gypsy is a slang for somebody who has no
A traveling
address. No fixed address. That's just
nomad. How does the song go? I don't know if I know the song.
Go song. So either way.
Well, how's the song go?
I don't know. You want me to sing it? I'm not going to. But, next wheel spin. You can boo me if you want. I'm not going to sing it. You wanted that to remind me of a song. There is no song in the world that's going to remind me of. So that's it. That's the end of it.
What you gonna do when they come for you? That's the song you remind me of, because Russia's coming.
Bad boy.
To interfere with your election. Let's roll our next segue for your stories. I think 2 stories.
Let's talk about. Yeah, there's 2 stories.
Let's tell some jokes.
All right. I guess we're gonna talk about the Fed meeting in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I always like the fact that these guys go on a vacation. They go to a vacation resort to have their meeting. Jackson Hole is a ski resort, in case you don't know. There's no skiing going on right now, but if you're rich, you can stay there. Exclusive, resorts. So we're going to report on that. This is from the Times.com. Marine Khan. I think this is the LA Times, which I'm unfortunately using for a source, even though I hate them. The world's most powerful central bankers will gather for the annual Jamboree at Jackson Hole, Wyoming this week, where the attention of financial markets and U.S. President will be squarely on one man, Jerome Powell. The embattled chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve has been the subject of torrent of attacks from Stinky the Clown for not cutting interest rates. A hasty list of candidates to replace Powell next year has been circulated to turn him effectively into a lame duck. White House officials have piled on further pressure in the past week by raising the possibility of an outsized 0.5% point interest rate cut next month. On Friday, in a speech to delegates in Wyoming, Powell will have his chance to respond, and analysts of Bank of America have dubbed his address a blockbuster event for traders. Powell's view matters far more than anyone else's. Aditya Bahave, senior U.S. economist at Bank of America, said, What does an economist at Bank of America do? I want that job. It seems like you don't do anything, right? It seems like a job. You sit at a desk all day. Look at me. I'm an economist at a bank. Look at me. I don't think they do anything. I just like banks pay a lot of people to just sit at desks and say, hey, we're rich and we're going to get richer. When the Fed yanked up interest rates by 0.75 percentage point in 2022 and then carried a larger half percentage point cut last September, it was Powell who brought both markets and the majority of the Fed committee around to his preferred policy stance. Doubt his force of will at his own peril, Behave said. Powell has remained steadfast in the face of Trump's accusations that he is a moron. Well, Trump should know about morons. He's an expert. Who has been too late to cut borrowing costs this year. The Fed, which makes decisions with its 12 voting policymakers, has kept its benchmark interest rate at 4.25 to 2.5% all year. But investors think there is more than a 90% probability the central bank will loosen its policy at September 17th meeting by 0.25 percentage points. However, recent evidence of stable inflation and a stagnant jobs market has led Scott Bessman. Okay, recent evidence of stable inflation is not true. There's no stable inflation. Here we go, stacking the deck in this article, pretending that inflation is stable when it's not. I don't even know where they get this from. Inflation went up 0.9% last month. Not stable. All right, anyway. When political pressure on him is mounting, few expect a resolute Powell to use his speech to communicate a significant shift in his tone about potential tariffs to raise inflation or the jobs market to indicate a recession. Powell is likely to not commit to any action. Anshul Padran of Barclays said he's likely reiterate that labor market conditions are best gauged by the unemployment rate, but will likely give a nod to increased downside risk from the low pace of job gains. There's a word salad for you to try to decipher. I had no idea what that even meant. Again, this is the LA Times. I probably shouldn't use them as a source because they're claiming inflation is down. Inflation is actually up. I have no idea where they're getting their information from, but they're looking at last month of period. And USA inflation is, let's see, just pure. America's starts to feel the squeeze. U.S. consumer sentiment falls as inflation expectations climb. Here's all the articles. What U.S. stagflations mean for the world markets. Why Americans can't shake off inflation. United States inflation rate is up. What is U.S. inflation rate today? Consumer price index 2.7. Prices rose 0.2% in July, but we're going to be talking about U.S. producer prices inflation going up 0.9%. So producer inflation is what drives consumer inflation. I don't know why we even pay attention to consumer inflation other than it's the result of producer inflation. So we can look forward to long inflation for quite a while. I don't know why they're acting like it's not going up. Our next story, I'm sorry, you got to do a segue.
I have to do a joke. Yep. My joke is... Here it is. Where is it? Here it is. How many politicians does it take to screw in a light bulb?
4.
2. One to screw it in, and the other to screw the taxpayer.
Ha my. Yeah, speaking of screwing taxpayers, we're currently paying for a lot of crap we don't need, like the National Guard to be on duty in American cities.
And remember, almond farms. Our number one nemesis.
Almond farms. There's so much taxpayers waste. We only care about, somebody poor is getting away with something. We better punish them. Other news. This is down to South America. KSL.com has the story. Tim Vandenack of KSL.com, which is, I believe, a Utah television station. Utah. We care about our country. Bolivia and Utah watching from afar as presidential campaign unfolds. The presidential elections in Bolivia loom. Susie Lassie says she and many others in the Utah welcome. I'm sorry. I screwed up again. She and many others in Utah who come from South American nation are paying close attention, but disappointed that they can't take part. All of us, we care about our country and we want to do something for it. She said, we are far away, but we are not absent. We care about our country. All guess Bolivia doesn't allow absentee voting.
Oh.
Again, Trump's trying to get rid of that United States, which again,
that's not going to work. I don't
want...
live in the country anymore. I'm not going to take a plane ticket all the way to vote.
Also, absentee voting is about 95% of absentee voting is done by the military who are deployed. Hello? So he's going to eliminate you from the military from voting. Way to go, Trump. Bolivians living abroad can actually vote in the contest. Okay, so I got that wrong. Coming amid growing support for the political rights as Sunday's vote nears, according to Reuters. But to cast ballots, the contingent in Utah would have to travel to Los Angeles. Okay, that's why. They just made it hard. The site of the Bolivian consulate that serves Utah, and that's just too far, said Lizzie. Oh, they're just making it ridiculously hard to vote. Yeah, and that's just too far, says Lizzie, a dual U.S.-Bolivian national now living in Provo. Mexicans and Salvadorans in Utah and the rest of the United States were able to vote in their presidential contest last year with the consular office in Salt Lake City. But Bolivia's like, screw Utah, there's only 7 people there. Salvadorians were able to vote in Utah or online if they had proper documentation, while Mexicans were able to vote electronically or in person at 20 locations across the country, though not Utah. They don't care about us, and our community is growing. Hopefully by next year we can do something about it, because that's not right. We want to vote. We want our country to do better. Here's the thing, America. If you hate immigrants and you want them to go back to your country, it's in your best interest to make sure that those have stable governments, not countries that people want to leave. I mean, this is kind of a thing. We're all in it together. It ain't just like, oh, I wish those people go back to their country. And when they go back to their country, they get rounded up and put in jail or put in fields, and their families are arrested or whatever. Let's stabilize some countries instead of acting like they don't matter to us. It's just complete horse shit. The Bolivian economy in Utah numbers around 1,000. Lisi estimates, much smaller than the contingents from other Latin American countries like Mexico, Venezuela, Peru, Brazil, and El Salvador. Lisi, though, says more and more people are leaving Bolivia, driven by the shaky political situation in the country and coming to the state, contributing to Utah's growing Latino population. The key motor to growth in the state. Again, we have negative birth in this country, and we keep pretending it isn't existing. People are dying, are not being replaced by births in America. They have to be replaced by immigrants. Why? Because people got to do the jobs. Somebody's got to do the jobs. You don't have no jobs without workers. You can sit there and go, oh, we need 50 workers, and then 10 people show up. Oh, shit. We don't have enough workers.
Yep. There's a whole planet out here, and people don't want to use every human. They want to use specific humans for their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Messed up.
Yeah, the cost of bigotry. Indeed, even immigration sits at the top of U.S. political agenda, with many U.S. politicals pushing for stricter border controls. It's absolute horseshit. Bolivia's uncertain political situation, as Leslie describes, in the context of the presidential race there, is prodding a growing number of Bolivians to eye the United States. The recent left-leaning leaders who have led Bolivia have persecuted critics, miring the country in crisis, says Lissy, who leads the nonprofit group El Chasqui Foundation that helps the homeless and others in need and promotes Bolivian culture. This is a moral crisis. It's a money crisis, Lizzie said. There's no money, there's no food, there's no gas. It's horrible. They're trying to be socialist. They're following the same example of Venezuela and Cuba. It's sad.
Okay,
that's your opinion. According to Reuters, two right-leaning hopefuls lead the crowded field of president. Oh, right-leaning. That's going to save your country. Let's put the fascists.
Yeah, stop doing socialism and just be fascist. That has always
fixed
every single country in the history of the world, by the way. Becoming fascist. Nothing bad has ever happened under fascism.
So basically, Bolivia is totally fucked. Samuel Doria Medina and Jorge Tuto Quiroga, who Lissy backs, a second round of voting among the top finishers is set for October 19th. No candidates win the 50% of the vote, at least 40% of 10 percentage points, according to Guardian. But even if the obstacles of voting for presidential contest is too much for Lissy and her fascist friends and other Bolivians abroad, she is hoping for change here in Utah that can more closely connect the expatriate community with the Bolivian government. The creation of a consular office in Utah. Officials at the Bolivian embassy don't really take care of us, but hopefully next year that's going to change. First, she and others plan to petition to get an honorary consul in Utah, a voluntary liaison to the Bolivian government who can help process requests for Bolivian passports in Utah, other documents. Ultimately, they're like Bolivia to create a consular office in Utah, the same as Mexico, El Salvador, and Peru. In the meantime, Lizzie will be watching what happens on Sunday. Or if your candidates that are good, I guarantee you your right-wing fascist candidates aren't going to be good for you, no matter what she thinks. I don't know why people vote for fascists when this isn't working. Oh, we better get fascists and they're to tell us what we think. Yeah, that's what we need.
No, I mean, I won't deny it's not easier. It's not easier. I don't have to think anymore. This guy will just tell me what to think, what to do, and I make no choices in my life. Freedom, don't need anymore.
Yeah, this woman's narrow-mindedness is really revealed by this. I don't care what happens to my country. As long as I got a consulate in Utah, I'm going to stay in Utah. I'm not going back there. But hey, go ahead and turn into a fascist country while I'm not around. So I guess she doesn't want her country to improve. She just thinks socialism is bad because it didn't change everything immediately. Hey, everything didn't change overnight. Let's change government
again. Unlike fascism, which actually does do that. So, I mean, she's got a point there.
Yeah, she's got a point. Yeah.
Suddenly, there's a wall, and I'm not allowed to leave the house. Wow, that was day and night difference right there.
Yeah, I'm sure fascism would reward her. Well, you know what happened with fascism? The trash got picked up. Yeah, by the fascists forced people to pick up their trash. Well, I mean, I don't even understand why people think fascism is good. Probably because it's the only thing they're used to.
They like order. Right? They like order. They like simplicity, and they have no creative cell in their body. I would say.
Of course, this article was written by a Utah news media. So again, Utah is just straight up lost, confused about life. The whole state. So there's your story.
All right. Thanks a lot. I guess I have one joke. I found a couple of Bolivian jokes, but all of them were Spanish. And I'm like, I think you need to know Spanish and know things about Bolivia to get them. So instead, we're just going for an easy one here. A man visits every bar in La Paz, hoping to drink himself into Bolivian.
That's Mike Tyson.
That's the Mike Tyson joke.
Am I knocking me into Bolivian? Okay,
he's going to drink into Bolivian.
If you're drunk enough, that's how you talk, right? Yeah. I'm sorry about it. I didn't do my own room shot. I was waiting for page to load.
Where's this one? Oh, this one.
Gloss in yourself.
It's funny because Bolivian. All right, let's roll our next segue. For my next story, which is a longish one. Give me a hypothetical.
Hypothetical. Right on.
And we're going to talk about... Finally! We talked about this last week. The UK has decided to help all those poor children in Gaza who have been getting blown up and taking them to the UK to get them some help and save them from the genocide. Yes, the genocide that's occurring in the Gaza Strip. Mm-hmm. This is by Al-Khalij Today. Written by Jeff King. Jeff King and is passionate about business and finance, and he's writing about this because this is all about business and finance.
Right.
Coming out of Hind al-Solia, Riyadh, and London, a group of between 30 and 40 critically ill and injured Palestinian children will be evacuated from Gaza to the UK for medical treatment in the coming weeks. So they were talking about doing it, but now they've actually confirmed the flights, confirmed the details. You know, they have the names to go with the faces. They would be the first children brought to the UK for treatment as part of a government operation, began being coordinated by the Foreign Office, Home Office, and Department of Health. The children will all be selected by the World Health Organization and will travel with family members via a third country where biometric data will be collected. First, they're going to send them to Turkey, then take their data, and then get them to the UK. It comes after some MPs wrote a letter to the government urging them to bring sick and injured children from Gaza to the UK without delay. I mean, of course, Scotland famously said it's taken them too freaking long to make a decision on what to do about this travesty that is occurring on our planet to other human beings. Okay? In a letter last week, a cross-party group of 96 MPs warned that children are at risk of imminent death due to the decimation of the healthcare system in Gaza, and any barriers to evacuation should be immediately lifted. It's not just that, too, right? They're not letting people get food, letting people get water. They're malnourished, they're losing, and they're sick, and they probably have trauma. Trauma upon trauma. They have all levels of bad health going. Some Gazan children have already been brought privately to the UK for medical treatment through an initiative by an organization called Project Pure Hope, PPH, that the government has so far not evacuated any through its own scheme during this conflict. Earlier in August, which I guess means at the beginning of the month, the government said the plans to bring more children to the UK for medical treatment were being carried out at pace. It is unclear which third country the children will transit through on their way to the UK, exactly how many children will be involved, or whether further groups will follow. Given the challenge of returning children to Gaza, it is understood some may enter the asylum system after completing their treatment. More than 50,000 children have been killed or injured since the war began in October in 23, according to the UN charity UNICEF. Since the start of the war, the UK has provided funds so that the injured Gazans can be treated by hospitals in their region, and also been working with Jordan to airdrop aid into the territory. However, even if you give them that aid, they don't get let into the border, and also those hospitals get blown up, so there's no hospital to treat people in. Children brought to the UK under the government scheme will be treated on the NHS. At the beginning of August, the government said that a cross-party task force was working to establish a plan to evacuate children from Gaza who require urgent medical care as quickly as possible. The Home Office previously said biometric checks would be carried out before children and carers before they travel. So you know who they came with, who they are, so that you can send them back to the freaking hellhole when they are better. Now, well, whatever. It's to appease those anti-immigrant assholes who are going to be like, wait, those people are just going to become illegal immigrants and then have a better life, and then I don't know.
Look at their skin. Look at their skin.
Steal your tax dollars or something. Steal your job. Whatever bullshit excuse anti-immigrant people will make so that they can. I'm not hateful and uncaring. I just don't like illegal immigrants. For me, that's the same thing. Severely ill Palestinians have been evacuated from Gaza to other countries since the start of the conflict, including more than 180 adults and children to Italy. The UN has warned of widespread malnutrition in Gaza, with experts backed by the organization warning in a report last month that the worst-case scenario of famine is already playing out in Gaza. Israel has insisted there's no restrictions on aid deliveries in Gaza. Yeah, they get delivered there and then we take them home to our families. And has accused the UN and other aid agencies of just failing to deliver. You didn't deliver any packages, actually. More than 60,000 people have been killed in Gaza since the Israeli military operation began, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. Okay, you need to put a little asterisk there, right? Oh, according to the terrorists, we've killed 60,000 people, supposedly. That's what Israel would say. Israel launched its offensive in response to. Nobody not know about this? Just in case you don't know. To a attack in southern Israel on October 7th, 2023, where 1,200 people were killed and 250 others were taken hostage. This was the details of the news of the first group of Gaza children to be evacuated to the UK for treatment in the coming weeks for this day. Hopefully they will succeed in giving more details and information, especially like where they're being taken to this third country and follow. So we'll hopefully have some updates on that. If I see any of it, scroll past my feed. There's your news on our little update, since they've been proclaiming I think it was last week we had the whole like, oh, you guys are complete shitbags, not doing anything for the poor children. And now they have supposedly started doing something for these poor children.
Well, thank you. It's tough getting a hypothetical on this. I guess a hypothetical would be, what if Scottish children are being treated in some country like China, right? And it was the only place they could be treated. And the Scottish people were going, you can't deport them. Anyway,
yeah, it would be, it would make sense, wouldn't it? 100%.
Yeah, it would make too much sense. Like, because the United States, we deport cancer patients and their children. So, yeah, we don't
the
know
bar
what we're doing
is low, you know? How
yeah.
little effort you have to make to be a decent thing is very low, sadly. And of course, people might be asking, why is the UK even responsible for this? Well, they're one of the people that signed the whole, hey, Israel, here's some land.
Here you go,
don't
Israel.
commit
Go ahead,
genocide, and we
people
won't commit genocide against you anymore because you have your own land now. And then they went off and did that. And abandoned all the Palestinians.
You get to do everything you want to other people because of reasons we can't put into words. You get to kill people aimlessly.
Bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly.
Somebody wronged you, you get to wrong everybody else.
100%. Alright, I'm rolling the wheel again because it double rolled either tell a joke or hypothetical.
My story. I got two.
Yeah, you got more story for us.
We'll do the short
Come
story
on, roll
first.
me something. Accurate metaphor simile.
Oh boy. Metaphor time for NBC News story about a lot of people had this story. Two American Carnival cruise passengers drowned in separate incidents on the same day. Sounds suspicious. I hope Jessica Fletcher is on this cruise. Every time I see a story like this, I always think, wow, there's going to be a detective on board like Jessica Fletcher at Colombo to solve it. Probably not. Two American Carnival, this is from, Mima Sharif and Austin Mullen. Two American Carnival Cruise Line passengers drowned in separate incidents in the Bahamas on Friday, according to officials. The victims were identified as a 74-year-old woman and a 79-year-old man. In a statement, Carnival said one victim drowned in a lagoon and the other drowned at the beach. Both at Celebration Key, a private destination for Carnival guests at the south side of the Grand Bahama. It includes a water park, a beach club, lagoons, and restaurants.
Nice.
One of the guests was sailing with his family on Mardi Gras, and one guest was sailing with family on Carnival Elation. Those are names of two different ships, I imagine. The cruise line said in the statement, our thoughts and prayers are with the guests and their families, and our care team is providing assistance. The police were notified about the first drowning just before noon, according to the Royal Bahamas Police Force. The officers found a 79-year-old man unresponsible aboard a commercial vessel. According to the initial report, the male became unresponsive while snorkeling at the beach. Police said at the statement shared with NBC News, a lifeguard assisted him from the water. CPR was administered, but to no avail. The man was pronounced dead by a doctor, police said. Shortly after 2:30 p.m., officers found an unresponsive 74-year-old woman aboard another commercial vessel, according to police. The woman became unresponsible while swimming in a pool, according to the initial report, police said. A lifeguard who assisted her out of the water administered CPR. Lifeguard not doing his job, perhaps? I'm not sure. I mean, you have a lifeguard there. And she was pronounced dead. An autopsy will be performed on both victims to assist with determining the exact cause of death. The investigation continues in both matters. There's your story.
Okay, I've got a good one, but it might be a little funny, so I apologize for all the people who have sadly lost their lives on the tour. But I think the captain probably said, "Splice the main brace, hoist the colors half-mast." Those are all metaphors. So, splice the main brace is a nautical command for issue an extra ration of alcoholic beverages to the crew. Yeah, it's worse when I explain the metaphors. Yeah, splice the main brace and hoist the colors at half-mast.
Yeah, if you're 74 or 79, we're not guaranteeing that it was drowning. It could have been any number of natural causes.
I mean, I think you've probably said this yourself, but I swear, old people go on cruises to die. And I was like, you know where I want to die? Looking at the Bahamas. That's where I want to die.
There's plenty of people that have actually bought these one-year cruises who say it's cheaper than renting an apartment. So they go on a cruise, and some of them, and my number one well, there's plenty of reasons I won't go on cruises. One of them, as I call them floating prisons with botulism, which is pretty accurate. You can't leave. The food they serve you is, who knows, right? And another reason is, what do they do with the dead people? Think about it. The majority of the people on these cruises are retired. Basically, it's the last thing they're ever going to do in reality, because they're going to die on the cruise ship. A certain number of passengers, and what do they do with them? They stick them in the freezer. Not just any freezer. The same freezer your food is in. That's not gonna eat.
I'm sure they wrap them up though. They don't just put a dead body laying on the tomatoes.
We assume.
We assume as much.
Yeah,
they probably have body bags for these kind of things because it happens a lot.
Sure, I'm sure it's entirely possible they put them in a body bag. I'm sure that's something that somebody does somewhere, but there's no guarantee they do. Anyway, that's my little diatribe about why I don't go on cruises. Next story is going to be some guy getting ripped off. This is from 1mileatatime.com. Ben Schlapping. Man calls United Airlines. I guess this is one of these airline websites. Man who calls United Airlines gets scammed for $17K. What on earth? Says the headline. There are lots of scammers who try to take advantage of unsuspecting airline passengers. One common scam is you'll see phone numbers listed online that claim to be official airline phone numbers, but in reality, they're just phone numbers of scammers. So people call those numbers thinking they're talking to an airline representative, when in reality, that's not the case. Here's a bizarre variation of that. A traveler called the United Airlines official phone number, but somehow got scammed for over $17,000.
That's a lot.
9 News has an interesting story about a Denver area man who was trying to take his family on an 18-day trip to Europe in late May 2025. He had booked tickets with United, but the family's outbound flight ended up being canceled. To try and salvage the trip, the man called United's customer service line, where he was on the phone for more than 3 hours. Oh my God. Right away. On the phone for 3 hours. By the end of 3 hours, me being on hold for 3 hours, you could behead me and I would be grateful to you. I'm serious. Just and then they cut you off.
2 seconds is too long for me personally.
Yeah, you're on hold for 2 hours and then and then you got to call back. Really? While he was briefly connected to a female agent, he ended up being transferred to a male agent who identified himself as David, and he spent over 3 hours online with it. 3 hours to get a new flight. Wow. And why would you have to pay extra money for a flight that the airline canceled? This man was not using any part of his brain. Again, if you're that stupid, if you think, oh, I gotta spend extra money to get a new flight. No, I don't see why. I would be on the phone going, no, you owe me money. You need to refund my money. You canceled my flight. I didn't cancel the flight. You did.
Where does this guy live again?
Denver.
Okay. Yeah, in the EU, there is a regulation protecting you from this stuff. So you do get a refund.
I'm pretty sure there's a regulation protecting him from this, but it doesn't really matter if somebody else took his money and United didn't, right?
Yeah.
The representative reportedly told him that in order to rebook his flights, they'd have to place a $17,328 charge on his credit card. But then United would refund the money to reimburse him for the cancellation. Oh, we need money from you first. I'm like, here's what's going to happen, United Airlines. You're going to refund my money, and I'm going to give you shit. You already got my information. First of all, United booked the flight. You booked the flight at United. They got your credit card information. You don't have to give it to another guy. You don't. Seriously. This man obviously is a moron. But again, even smart people fall for shit. The traveler was placed on hold for a long time. And eventually the representative came back and said he couldn't rebook his flights, but assured him that the change would be refunded. Charge would be refunded. Oh yeah, I can't rebook your flights because I don't even work for United. But hey, we'll give you money back. That money you just gave me, you don't know what the hell I am. This guy has one brain cell, apparently. However, months later, he still received months later. How could you be missing $18,000 and not be just constantly pissed? A confirmation email suggests that the ticket will be refunded within 45 to 50 business days. Oh boy, isn't that nice? Wow, incredible amount of stupidity this man has. After the amount of time he called, it was connected directly to David, who said he would look into and get back to them. He was then ghosted. This is when the help of 9 News investigative reporter was enlisted, who noticed the following. The confirmation email about the $17,328 charge didn't actually come from a United email address and looked very suspicious. Let's look at the email address who sent it. It is from reservations at air-reservations.com. Wow. That sounds like a real website, doesn't it? That sounds like the official United Airlines website. If you get an email it says something like that, you know it's a scam. The email
always check for spelling mistakes, because even it would say like United, but it would use like a L instead of an I or something. You gotta watch out, man. You gotta really watch out.
And if you just hover over the name of the person sending it, it'll tell you the exact email address they sent it from. Just gotta hover. You don't have to click on it. It'll tell you, wow, that doesn't say United Airlines on it at all. That looks suspicious. Reservations at air-reservations.com. Are you kidding me? This poor, stupid man. Thank you for doing business with us. We would like to inform you that you've successfully changed your reservation, and applied a full refund. You paid $17,300 and give you and we'll give you a compensation for each person, $249 US, which will be back in the Amex card. As a result, we will have initiated a refund process to ensure that you receive your money back promptly. Rest assured, your satisfaction is our top priority. Oh yeah, I'm rest assured. I'm sitting here being rest assured. Oh yeah, I'm rest assured. I'm never getting my money back.
The great thing, I guess, I don't know if you mentioned this, but the great thing is you can just contact your bank for this kind of stuff. But it's a lot of headaches.
Imagine thinking you got something for that money. What am I getting for this again? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But we'll refund your money. Sure you will. Now you'd assume that what happened to the traveler just looked up the wrong phone number on Google, which is a common way to be scammed, but that's not the case. The traveler shared phone call log showing a 3-hour and 16-minute call to United's official phone number. United has even confirmed that the airline received calls from the traveler at the time he claimed. One major discrepancy. United's call log showed a 12-minute call, at the end of which the man dropped off the call and there was no further recording. However, the traveler's call log showed a much longer phone
that's
log.
Nefarious.
After 12 minutes being on hold, she transferred the guy to a scam artist, and whoever answered the phone is probably in cahoots, I would think. In a statement, United has refused to provide further details. Of course not. They're not going to pay this guy any money, other than to say that they've been in direct contact with the customer to understand what happened in this case, and airlines committed to finding a fair resolution for him. Fair resolution would give him all his money back and fix your phone call lines. The man has filed a credit card dispute for the fraudulent charge, but it hasn't been resolved. For those curious about the trip, he was able to rebook the trip on a separate phone call, obviously without a $17K charge. How are you not suspicious of that? Man, I tell you what. I fixed everything, honey. We're good. He just wanted to be the hero and hang up the phone and get on with his life, I guess. That must be what it is. Based on what we know, it seems that somehow the traveler actually called United's official phone number only to be transferred to a scammer. Now the question is, was this intentional or accidental? Did the initial United call center agent intentionally transfer his call to a scam phone number, making this an inside job? I think it would have to be, right? Or did the United call center accidentally transfer a call to a scam phone number? Maybe the traveler needed to talk to a different department, and the initial agent Googled the phone number and fell for the scammer. So, okay, if the agent at United is Googling the number, she's not an agent at United. She's somebody just answering a phone. You had to Google the number. I'm lost. Or did the scammer somehow intercept United phone calls in a way that's hard to make sense of? Yeah, exactly. That seems unlikely. All that being said, my goodness, it's amazing that this guy fell for this. I mean, the confirmation email is so obviously not from United, and it's a pretty obvious scam. And one should certainly be suspicious if an airline representative tells you that they're going to charge you for amount, then refund you that amount. I mean, how dumb are you? But maybe this guy somehow felt it must be legitimate. Must be legitimate. Well, golly, that's a phone number I called. It must be legitimate. Here's the other thing I find a bit odd, which I can't make any sense of. The guy provides the call log, which does show United's official phone number, 800-864-8331. However, it shows the name as Spam United Airlines. Yes. His call log even calls it Spam United Airlines. Of course, the spam or scam likely designator is sometimes not accurate. But why did they have a reason to believe this is likely spam? Well, the phone company knows, right? Like I said, you'd assume this guy just called up the wrong place number and that we're somehow able to mask the number or whatever. But United has confirmed the phone call happened, that it only lasted a matter of minutes rather than a matter of hours. Bottom line, the family had a trip booked to Europe on United Airlines, but there ended up being irregular operations. So one of the travelers called United's official number, only to end up being scammed for over $17,000. What makes it so strange is that United shows the call as having lasted only 12 minutes, while the traveler's call log shows the call lasting more than 3 hours. It sure seems that the man was somehow routed from a legitimate United agent to a scammer. The question is how or why this happened. Either way, it's a good reminder to always make sure you're calling official airline numbers, even if you are. If something doesn't seem right, follow your gut. Follow your gut. This guy probably did follow his gut. He just doesn't have a very smart gut. There's your story.
Amazing. Well, the only thing I can really say for that as metaphors is ones everyone knows, right? A snake oil salesman called him on the phone. Yeah. He was a wolf in sheep clothing. It was a Trojan horse of a Pandora's box. Just all of those, right? Oh, what's in here? What's in the horse? More fucking crazy shit. That's what. Oh, wow. 3 hours. Yeah, I agree with you. On hold for 12 minutes, I'm going to hang up. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would just be like, yeah, it's like, excuse me, $17,000? Click.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, let's get I sent you another video, by the way, because I found a more interesting one that isn't just the song playing.
Oh, okay.
So, I guess load that up when you have the time. Your segue is accurate metaphor and simile for My Culture News, which is about dictionary. Yes, we're updating the Cambridge Dictionary with some new terms, like everyone's favorite term for the last 5 years, skibbity. This is on Euronews Culture by David Marquand. The Cambridge Dictionary has officially added more than 6,000 new words this year, including a lot of new slang inspired by social media, which continues to shape everyday speech. The Cambridge Dictionary is adding more than 6,000 new terms in its lexicon, with many of them reflecting societal changes and the influence of internet culture. New entries this year in the world's largest online dictionary include popular social media slang like skibbity, delulu, and tradwife. The new selection of words highlights to what extent internet culture and TikTok's influence on the English language is far from a fad. Don't forget also Black people's influence on the English language, because I never get the fucking credit for it. But they add a lot of language to our lexicon, and then white people take it and then act like they invented the word. Anyways, that's a tangent we don't need to get into. Internet culture is changing the English language, and the effect is fascinating to observe and capture in the dictionary, said Cambridge Dictionary Lexical Program Manager Colin McIntosh. He added, "It's not every day we get to see words like skippity and delulu make their way into the Cambridge Dictionary. We only add words where we think they'll have staying power." Well, skibbity's been around for 5 years, maybe even more. Delulu I've been hearing for more than 5 years. Skibbity, we'll cover these five new additions that David picked out so you know what they mean. Skibbity, a word for varying meanings, both good and bad, originated from a viral YouTube series called Skibbity Toilet, or as I would like to call it as a millennial, YouTube Poop. It's called that for a reason. About toilets with human heads sticking out of the bowl. Yep, that's where we're at. The Cambridge Dictionary says that it can be used with no real meaning as a joke. For example, what the skippity are you doing? It's just a filler word. It's a filler word. The word gained further popularity, a filler adverb even. The word gained further popularity when Kim Kardashian's daughter, Northwest, gave her mother a necklace featuring the word charming. Delulu, from the word delusional, this term has its origin in K-pop communities, where it's used to refer to individuals who are in a parasocial relationship with celebrities and have hopes of meeting them someday and maybe even getting married. Girl, you're Delulu. Get some help. See a therapist. Get some friends. I don't know. It's also associated with post-truths, as in when a person's beliefs are more important than reality. I believe that the moon is cheese and you will never change that. Girl, you're Delulu. The moon is not made out of cheese. The dictionary entry defines it as believing things that are not real or true, usually because you choose to. You choose to be delusional, yeah. You're specifically Delulu if you choose to believe it. It's like, I know I'll never meet RM from BTS, but what if I did? Oh my god, I would die! I'm Delulu. I'm never going to meet RM from BTS, okay? Never going to be in the same room as the guy. Pure News Culture wrote about the word and its emergence on TikTok as a term adopted by the Gen Z. Delulu is the solulu for manifesting what you want out of life. You can read that in a different article. The phrase Delulu is the solulu was used earlier this year by Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to attack his opponent in Parliament. Just keep on being delusional, dude. You're the only one who believes that's reality. Trad wife, short for traditional wife, is a new word as well, adding to the dictionary. The word describes a stay-at-home married woman, and its popularity online has been widely criticized as the word refers to socially conservative influencers who celebrate traditional gender roles that never existed. They never existed. Oh, I wish I was born in the 50s. Oh, you mean being on Valium? Going, like, what do you mean? Oh, no, it was such a simple time back in the 20s. No, it wasn't. Unless you're rich, actually, right? This is the rule for anybody out there who is Delulu. For anybody out there. If you were rich, you could sit around all day lounging in the sunroom all you want. People who aren't rich, which is the majority of our population, thanks 1%ers, you're not going to be not working, okay? Since the history of humanity, both women and men, especially poor ones, are working all day long doing manual labor of some sort, okay? So you're delusional if you think trad wives ever existed in this curated way on social media. One of the most famous examples, American Hannah Needleman, who has more than 10 million followers and has been called the Queen of Trad Wifery. Sorry, what did you want to say?
I said they existed on TV, so they must have been real.
Yeah, exactly. Not reality, guys. Sorry, TV, not real. Luke.
My mom was what you call a trad wife. She had.
Yeah, your mom. Your mom who worked on a cow farm, by the way.
Yeah, she worked all day in a farm and had another job. She was such a trad wife.
Yeah, 100%.
My mom always had a job.
L-E-W-K is the version of the word look. Popularized by the show called Drag Race, it became a distinctive style or outfit, especially one that is impressive. Another word that is borrowed from another minority culture. We love that. Broligarchy. The merging of bro and oligarchy, referring to a powerful group of men in technology. The dictionary defines the word as a small group of men, especially men, owning or involved in the technology business, who are extremely rich and powerful, and who have or want political influence. It has been used to describe the likes of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, who all attended the Convict-in-Chief's inauguration in January. In case you're still wondering, it's not used as a positive term. Do not want to be part of the bro-oligarchy.
It's almost unnecessary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost. I mean, all oligarchs are men, so why is it even necessary? Anyway, just go ahead.
No, that's not true. There's plenty of women oligarchs. It's just not as popular.
Oh, you mean like...
Okay, well, if we want to genderfy it real quick, which we can. I don't agree with genderfying it, but if we want to genderfy it real quick, the women who all are oligarchs for the most part keep to their fucking selves. If we want to generalize here. Yeah, you don't know about them? That's because they're not fucking trying to become the next,
They're just as bad, though. They're just
president.
Not
Yeah, all oligarchs are bad. 100%. I agree.
All right.
Well, that's the end of my story. It's pretty short and sweet. We learned some new words that we can add to our lexicon here. Give me your...
My metaphor is, metaphors are like your children. If you invent the word, it's like your children, right?
Yeah.
So if you want, the thing you made at the beginning was like, oh, come nobody gets credit. I was like, you can actually register words. You can license them. You can invent the word, license it, and if anybody tries to use it, you can ask for money. That's the truth. So there you go.
All right, RuPaul, you better freaking trademark that look. It's not a good look, though. Oh, we've lost Roger. You're back.
Away. Okay. If I give away my words, I'm going to say words are like little children. Let me just close YouTube. Maybe it'll help. Words are like little children. Your children. You don't want to give them away. You want to get some compensation for them. You're just like, So, that's my terrible metaphor.
Demigorge says he's never heard of the word Delulu. And he actually really likes it. It's definitely my favorite on the list. I have to agree with you there. But I actually use it.
There needs to be a Samson and Delulu. Samson and Delulu, that famous Bible story. Yeah, it's very...
Anyways, here's your sound effect for that. Okay.
Samson was Delulu because he thought cutting his hair off wouldn't affect him. He was Delulu, right? You little stupid.
It was not just that being delusional, but you do it on purpose. You believe in the delusion for your own sanity or for your own insanity, right?
Yeah, she's a beautiful woman cutting my hair.
Like us having this meteor counter that's going to kill us in 1,300 days or whatever, that's a bit delulu. You know, in a way we believe that this meteor is going to hit the planet and kill us all. Bit delulu.
Yeah, we're all delulu thinking somebody out there is going to save us, too. That's the silliness we got. But let's not get on.
I didn't pay attention to the segue wheel, so I'm going to roll it again, because I don't know what it rolled.
Aha, caught you not paying attention. I'm not the only one.
I'm going to keep rolling it until it's actually... Oh, no. You know what? I guess we're doing that.
Your story just...
Hypothetical!
The story you just read just popped up my news feed. That's a hell of a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
They're listening to you.
Yeah. The headline... The Guardian was the article you wrote, right? Read?
Yeah. No, it was actually Euronews. Guardian had like a longer list, and I was not going to read 20,000 words that they added. 5,000 new words they added to the dictionary. A lot of words. Go.
Hell of a coincidence. Maybe, yeah. My computer's hearing you and just popping up news stories. AI.
But it's time for this day in history. And I'm assuming you were able to get that video loaded that I sent you. So.
Yes, I had to close it because you said I was locking up, and sometimes YouTube does that. But I'll open it in a minute.
Okay.
What does the wheel say?
I got hypothetical. I have to come up with a hypothetical about something that happened in this day in history. Or I should say it didn't happen. Dun dun dun.
In 1227, Genghis Khan, a warrior ruler of a genius. We're stroking Genghis Khan's ego from 800 years ago. We gotta call him a genius. You're a genius. Don't kill him.
He's an absolute genius. Please don't kill me, Genghis. You're a genius.
Starting from obscure and insignificant beginnings, brought all the nomadic tribes of Mongolia into a rapidly disciplined military state. He died on this day in 1727. I guess that's why we're calling him a genius. Age 65. And famously, I think something like 80% of all people in Asia are related to Genghis Khan, or some thing that was made up about him that nobody can prove. But anyway, that's the theory. A lot of people out there are descended from Genghis Khan, is the theory, because he had many. He was a conqueror and raper, among other things. 1477, Mary of Burgundy married Archduke Maximilian, son of Habsburg Emperor Ferdinand III. Hooray for her. Mary of Burgundy. I don't know if they named the wine after her or not. In 1572, Henry, Prince of Béarn, later Henry IV of France, married Margaret of Villars, or however that's pronounced, of the French royal house. Lots of things about royals getting married and such today. I guess that's our great stuff that happened in history. 1786, the city of Reykjavik was designated the administrative capital of Iceland, Reykjavik. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. I've actually been there. I can't pronounce it. But anyway. 1896, according to lore, more than 200 outlaws from the regional gangs gathered at Brown's Hole in the American West, where Butch Cassidy proposed to organize a train robbers syndicate, which became familiarly known as the Wild Bunch. Old Butch Cassidy. Speaking of people that ended up in Bolivia, Butch Cassidy.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
What a coincidence.
Yep. If you ever saw the movie, they're totally surrounded by the Bolivian army at the end. 1900, Indian political leader Vajaya Lakshmi Pandit, one of the world's leading women in the political life of the 20th century, was born in Allahabad. So happy birthday to her, 125. 1934, Roberto, I can't speak. Roberto Clemente was born. One of the first Latin American baseball stars in the United States, was born in Puerto Rico. Roberto Clemente died with exactly 3,000 hits in baseball. He died in a plane crash trying to bring aid to Nicaraguan hurricane victims. A baseball player. Didn't have to do that, and it cost him his life. So being humanitarian, Hall of Famer Roberto Clemente. We remember him on his birthday. He would be 91 today. 1936, Federico Garcia Lorca, who is widely considered the most important Spanish poet and playwright of the 20th century, was murdered by nationalist forces during the Spanish Civil War. The Spanish Civil War, again, Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead. 1936, American actor and director Robert Redford was born. Robert Redford turning 89 today, so he's still around. Speaking of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, right? He was in that movie, so there you go. It's his birthday. So on the day the Wild Bunch was organized, well over 100 years ago, on the anniversary of that, Robert Redford was born, who ended up playing the Sundance Kid. He was known for the diversity of his screen character. He's still alive. Known for his diversity of his screen characterizations, as well as commitment to environmental and political causes. Happy birthday to Robert Redford. 1958, Russian-born American author Vladimir Nabokov published his controversial novel Lolita, about a middle-aged man who becomes obsessed with a 12-year-old girl, the Donald Trump story. 1969, the Woodstock Music and Art Fair, a legendary rock festival near Bethel, New York, that attracted some 400,000 fans, ended. So Woodstock ended today, 56 years ago today. So it was 3 days of peace, music, and love, and nobody died. There was no violence. They ran out of food, and nobody got killed. It was amazing. A couple of people were born there. I wonder if you're born at Woodstock. If you were born at Woodstock, let me know. 1992, you are 56 today. 1992, American basketball player Larry Bird announced his retirement. He led the Boston Celtics to 3 championships, 81, 84, 86. He was considered one of the greatest pure shooters of all time. And one of the misnomers of all time in the NBA, I keep hearing, is that the Lakers and the Celtics had this real big rivalry where they split all these championships. Not really. The Celtics only beat the Lakers one time in the playoffs. The other 2 championships they won against the Houston Rockets. So the revisionists who want to act like Larry Bird ever beat the Lakers, he only beat them once. He lost the other times. So anyway, that's my little correction to these people that think.
How old was he when he retired?
92. Shoot, I think that was Larry Bird announced his retirement in 92. He had to play longer than that. Let's see, his first season.
He was born in 56.
So he's born in he started playing in 79. And he retired, or actually in 80. So he retired 12 years later. Man, he wasn't done. Why was he done? It had to be his back or his feet. That's what usually happens to tall people. 2008, facing possible impeachment, Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf resigned from office. Yeah, there was a big deal there. Our featured event 1920, the 19th Amendment was ratified, and this say 1920, 19th Amendment was ratified in Tennessee. Just one vote became the 36th state to approve it, capping a 72-year fight would win women the right to vote in the United States. And of course, your trad wife, they should probably not vote because that would be a real trad wife thing to do, wouldn't it? You have no rights, honey. Don't worry your pretty little head about politics. I'll go back and make me some muffins. This old man's hungry. Get back in the kitchen, trad wife. This is the condescending attitude I have for any woman that votes Republican these days, by the way. I say, why are you worrying your pretty little head with opinions, little girl? Why don't you go back to the kitchen? Do what you're told. You're a second-class citizen. That's what I say to all the people that want to vote Republican. All the women, just go back to the kitchen. I don't care about your opinion. Why should I? You don't care about your own opinion. You want your own vote taken away.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I was like, well, I can be condescending. Sure, why the hell not? There's no law against being condescending right away. 1830. Our other featured birthdays are Francis Joseph, Emperor of Austria-Hungary, Roman Polanski. Speaking of Lolita, Roman Polanski, famous child molester. Polish film director, made a lot of good films though, and his wife was murdered. His wife was Sharon Tate. If you don't know who Sharon Tate is, she was murdered while she was pregnant by the Manson family. So Roman Polanski was not home at the time. So, and of course that was totally an accident. The Manson family murders took place because Charles Manson was rejected by the Beach Boys management, and Charles Manson thought the Beach Boys manager lived in that house, and in fact he had moved, and Roman Polanski was currently renting it. So they killed the wrong people. Manson was an idiot, let's put it that way. 1936.
There's a reason he wasn't added to the band, I guess. Damn.
No, he wasn't added to his band because he couldn't sing and his music sucked. But he did co-write some songs that appeared on a Beach Boys album, Charles Manson, and he also wrote a song that the Guns N' Roses recorded and included on one of their albums, but didn't credit it, which is sneaky and ridiculous. Way to go, Axl Rose! I want to put Charles Manson's song on a record. Yeah, way to go, idiot. I'm just saying, why? It's just showing nothing for their victims. It's Patrick Swayze's birthday. Patrick Swayze was around. He would be 73 today. Wow, he's that old. It was born in 1952. And it's also the birthday of Edward Norton, American actor and descendant of Pocahontas. Edward Norton, who played in his latest movie, got an Oscar nomination for playing Pete Seeger in the Bob Dylan biopic. National Day calendar. So happy birthday to Ed Norton, born in 1969. He's turning 56 today. It's Pinot Noir Day, which is a red wine. So, and it's National Fajita Day, which is a certain cut, the skirt steak of a cow.
And the skirt is under the belly somewhere? Is that why it's called the skirt?
Yeah, it's kind of like around your ribs and towards your lower quarters, your back quarters. Mm-hmm. Skirt steak. It's National Ice Cream Pie Day and National Mail Order Catalog Day. So those are your fun things today. Everything. Your mispronunciation, technical glitches, bad jokes, bad timing, everything. For Monday, August 19th, August 18th, tomorrow's 19th. It's August 18th on Before Fajitas.
Wow. I'm excited and hungry now. And I hope I can have some fajitas someday soon. My hypothetical is, what do you think would have happened if Larry Bird did not retire when he did? Because he was only 36, I think. I did the math. He was born in 56. So he was only 36.
He was only 36 when he retired. That's LeBron's like 43, right? So
yeah.
Larry Bird from what I understand, retired because of back trouble. And of course, he became a coach and a general manager for Indiana Pacers. He's from Indiana. But the legend of Larry Bird is, even though he was a rich basketball player, in one of the off seasons during his career, he was actually physically by himself paving his mom's driveway, like one
really
full of asphalt at a time. Yeah, and he screwed up his back doing that, so I probably never got better again. Yeah.
That's what you get for being a good son, huh? Pretty messed up.
Yeah, just hire. That's what you get for being cheap. Seriously, that's what you get for being cheap. He's just cheap, and again, that's just from being cheap. You could hire somebody, Larry. It ain't cost that much. I see people get their driveway paved all the time around here, and they ain't professional basketball players.
No, they aren't.
It don't cost that much, Larry. Anyway, screwed up his own back. That's his own fault. So
probably would have been better off.
Time for a joke.
Okay, we have no international observances today for the UN, so nothing to celebrate there. I hope you guys had a nice and long Monday, Mucking Fonday here on Before Coffee. We will see you tomorrow for some good, positive, heartwarming news that will make you believe in humanity again. And so make sure you're following or subscribed so you know when we go live by turning on that bell, that notification, so you get notified. And have a good rest of your day. Don't forget to take care of yourselves. We'll see you tomorrow. And here is our mic drop moment.
It's going to be the same song no matter what the video says anyway, I think, right?
The same song, but showing the references to what he's talking about.
Yeah.
You will not be able to plug
More
in, turn on, and
interactive one.
You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised.
It will not be televised.
The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell.
Definitely won't show you Nixon or John Mitchell.
Yeah, actually getting the photos of all these events that happened that he's talking about, which I was not alive for.
Well,
The
this is
revolution
just
will not be
pictures.
brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star
Incidental
Natalie
to the
Woods and Steve
song.
McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia.
Bad.
Bullwinkle and Julia, what an interesting mix.
The revolution will not give your
I want
mouth
my
sex
Bullwinkle.
appeal. The
Julia
revolution will
was
not get rid of the nub. The revolution will
first
Will
not
not get rid of the nubs.
because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be
I would, yeah, I don't know what I would do if the revolution made me lose 5 pounds.
Or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised.
The cultural references
Nice.
are dated.
Hell yeah. Nice
There
baseline
will be no
too.
pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life.
Brand new
of Roy
process.
Wilkins.
You know,
Only
process
Watch
is- that's
with
an
a
old
red,
word.
black, green liberation jumpsuit.
Wow, look at that. That's an outfit.
Is a do, man.
Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for
Search for
a brighter
Tomorrow.
day.
Nobody will not give a shit about
I
Search
forgot
for Tomorrow.
I remember that show barely. That was only on for like 5 years.
Women liberationist and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not
Oh
be
no.
by Jim Webb or
I can't believe she blows her nose just like the rest of us.
Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised.
The rare.
The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your
All
tank, or
about
the giant in your
cultural
toilet bowl.
stuff from the late
revolution
60s
will
that
not
don't
be
exist.
Yeah, like you really had to be there because I was not there.
There's Coke still around.
Some of this stuff became part of the lexicon, so
Oh, this was played on the radio for like 3 days, and like, oh my god, not that.
that's right. So get ready for the revolution because it's gonna be live happening.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.